I'm Julia Lepidi, and I work in radio. I do the night show on Amp Radio.
Julia, obviously you're somebody that's doing something that you love, correct?
Yes.
A lot of people are striving to do that, but a lot of people haven't really figured out what it is that they want to do with their life. What kind of advice would you give to people like that who are still seeking?
Well, it's kind of hard because for me, it was always something I wanted to do, but I kind of would try to talk myself out of it growing up because my friends were really into sports and they were good at them, and I could see that working, and they were really smart, and I was smart, but I wasn't a school person, so I never excelled well enough to go to these big colleges that I thought that they would go to go on to be something big. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I kind of took the things I knew I was good at. I was creative, and I loved entertaining, and I loved making people laugh, and I didn't know that I could put that into a line of work. And so once I kind of got introduced to radio, I dipped my feet into it, and I just really found myself being able to utilize all these things. And I think the thing that made me realize that it was my passion was that it made me feel confident. I didn't know a job could make you feel confident, but it did. So I think that's how I kind of knew it was my passion and what I wanted to do.
Okay, let's now talk to the people who like you figured out, okay, this is my niche. This is where I can go into, and they got their foot in the door.
Yeah.
From there, once you get the foot in the door, there's a whole new ball game that you have to play, right?
Yeah. And it's, for me, I was willing to do everything and anything. When I first got into radio, I was working in promotions, and I worked 3 other jobs at the same time as well. And then to be on air, I was always told that your first on-air job couldn't be in Detroit because it was such a large market. So I went and I was commuting every weekend an hour to Port Huron, and then while working at AMP and while working another job just to make it on bills. And meanwhile, training with the people who were on in Detroit to see what I had to do to make it. And then eventually, I crafted this demo together, and, I got advice, and I kept going through the motions. And I think the biggest thing about getting your foot through the door is just doing everything you can. Nobody is going to think you're annoying. Nobody's going to think you're doing too much or you're hovering or whatever. They'll see the passion in you that they once had, and they usually love to help you out with that. I mean, I feel the same way now when I see somebody come through radio and who's super passionate and wants to, do what I'm doing, because I felt the same way at one point.
You talked about had a great mentors around you and the advice that you were given. What was the best advice that you've received?
So one of the biggest people I look up to in radio is Sway. Everyone knows who he is, and I actually got to meet him a couple summers ago, and it was him doing his show live, which I'm sure he always does all these different rap battles and stuff like that. So I literally waited around at this rap battle at a shoe store on 7 Mile just to talk to him. And yes, I was it was not a place I should have been, but I waited and I talked to him. And when I told him he did radio, he was oh, hold on a second, met a couple people, and then turned to me and was just talking to me genuinely. He was and he said to me, put yourself in all your work. And that's kind of what stuck to me. And, I have to keep reminding myself of that often, because when you work in radio, you work for a large company. So it's easy to just put out there what you think will get you good ratings or what you think people will want to hear. But then I'm are people really getting to know me as a personality, or am I just delivering them what they want? So every now and then I'll just tell myself, Julia, put yourself into it. What do you want to do? What do you want to say? What makes you laugh? Who cares about what's going to make them laugh or if they think you're weird? Just be yourself. So
He talked about what it is that you want to be and who it is, or what it is that you want to accomplish. Is that what will make you reflect on life and say, I did it?
I don't know, because I'm still figuring that out. And for me, it's changed, because when I wanted, initially, before I ever got into radio, my whole goal was always to have a morning show. And it still is. I still would love that one day, and that is still what I am working towards. But, I don't want that to be where I get there and then that's just where I check out. I think wherever you get in work, it's just, the day I get a morning show won't be, a big, celebration for me. It will be exciting, but it'll be, okay, what are you going to do now to make this successful? You got this platform, you can lose it just as easy because it's entertainment. And I think the biggest thing is success in achieving is just getting to where you want, but then taking what you've learned to work even harder.
last question, okay? But before I ask the last question, let me just acknowledge you for the hard work and the passion that you possess towards your craft. And I think I once heard the greatness is when your personal journey and your pursuit to your personal journey is so fun that it affects the people around you in a positive way.
Yeah.
And you, somebody that is doing that. And I appreciate you for coming and speaking to me and sharing this wisdom with me. What's your definition of a successful life?
I think my definition of a successful life isn't getting to a certain point, like I was saying. I think it's being proud of what you've done, but taking that as fuel just to work harder and go beyond the goal that you set yourself. Like, don't just stop when you've hit a point. Just like if you got it in your hands, just keep making it bigger. That's what she said. I'm sorry.